I got this fat and I never even ate that much junk food, so I can confidently say that my appetite is in the top 1%. These are the 4 steps I took to stop overeating, so you can just copy me. Step 1. Remove low-hanging fruit. Just in case you don't know what this term means, imagine you are picking something like grapes. The grapevine has grapes near the bottom, which is very easy for you to reach, and at the very top. Why would you ever go to the very top when you can just pick the low-hanging ones and you don't have to put that much effort in and still get the grapes? In the same way, we can apply this to fat loss. I was eating over 1,000 calories of nuts every single day because I was told that it's healthy, and the crazy part is I didn't even really like nuts. So it was super easy for me to remove once I figured out that this was destroying my weight loss. And every single person is gonna have something like this. Whether that's nuts, whether that's a bunch of extra oil in your food, whether that's having any type of seeds like sunflower seeds. A lot of these foods are gonna be very low volume and very high calorie. So if you're just snacking on something like peanut butter, that's a very low-hanging fruit that you can remove. It would barely make a difference. You're not going to feel any hungrier, and it would also take out a bunch of calories. A great way to find these foods is look at what you're eating when you're bored. You're typically eating some type of junk food that's a little bit higher in calories, and out of those foods, pick out the ones that you can remove that you don't even like that much. Step 2, removing sugar. So sugar isn't necessarily the worst thing for your health. I feel like a lot of people who are into fitness overplay how bad sugar is, where on the other end of the spectrum, regular people don't know how harmful it actually is. So most of the time you're gonna have two extremes. But the biggest reason as to why sugar is bad is because it just tastes way too damn good, and a lot of foods high in sugar are very palatable, meaning that they taste amazing and you just overeat on them. Another reason as to why I slowly started removing sugar from my diet is because sugar will raise your blood glucose and then cause it to come crashing down, and whenever you get a huge blood sugar crash, you end up being more hungry, so you set yourself up on a spiral of going up and down in cravings. So if you slowly start removing sugar from your diet, you're going to be more satiated, not only quite literally physically, but also psychologically, as you're also not going to get big dopamine spikes. The way that I did this personally is I started slow. I started removing sugar from lower hanging fruit, just as the previous tip. I started removing sugar from my coffee. I then stopped eating candies that I didn't even really like that much. I started eating yogurt that wasn't artificially inflated with sugar. I stopped drinking things like fruit juice, and so on. Step 3 is add high volume foods into your diet. So the neat part about the previous step of removing sugar is that the less sugar you eat throughout the day, the better regular food will taste. You kind of cleanse your palate into liking regular human food. And for this reason, you have to go in order with all of these steps, because if you skip step 2, you're gonna find it difficult to add healthier foods into your diet. So as I was lowering my sugar intake, I would slowly add in some vegetables, maybe some leaner meats, and ate more of those that I liked, which just backfilled a little bit of the calories from sugar, but you're probably not gonna overeat as much on them as you overate on sugar. So some of my favorites were things like celery, carrots, tuna, chicken breast, and cauliflower. And step number 4 is don't eat breakfast. Oh my god, isn't breakfast the most important meal of the day? If you're not a complete normie who falls for every propaganda campaign that's pushed out towards you and do one quick Google search, you will come to find that the idea of breakfast being the most important meal is actually a paid off research study by Kellogg's, which was the cereal company, where around 50 to 100 years ago, they paid off a doctor to tell you that starting your day with a bowl of cereal was the healthiest thing you can do, which, you know, we later came to find that this isn't a good idea. Now look, you can eat breakfast if you want, but if you are going to eat it, at least make sure it has as little carbs as possible and make it as high in protein and fats as you can. The only caveat being is if you're going to work out right after the meal, then yes, lower it in protein, lower it in fats, and make it a little bit higher in carbs. Now the reason as to why I say skip breakfast is I personally find it much easier to just push off eating as further into the day as I can. The longer you can push off eating, the more calories you will have for later in the day. And when do most people break their diets? When is your willpower the lowest? It's closer to the end of the day. Have you ever noticed that you don't binge on junk food first thing in the morning? Well, that is exactly why. So why not take that willpower and use it to push back all the calories for later in the day? And the later you can eat, the less of a chance you have of overeating. So this would be kind of a form of fasting, but you can either go not as extreme or more extreme depending on your preference. If you want to 10x your results, press the first link in the description and join our free school group. At 100 members, I'll make it paid, so if you join now, you get everything for free. If I give you anything of value, consider subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to stay savvy with your diet.